Let's go! Well, it wasn't exactly how you drew it up, but a win's a win. Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. We are doing a little collaboration with the Horns Down podcast, Mr. K, Chris Griffin. And if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos. And don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment. Hall of Fame, college football, and the Horns Down podcast. Okay, Chris, it was a close one. Kendall Dobie, everybody should be loving on Kendall Dobie right now. Yeah. Sniffing that one out and shutting it down. 31-29 OU.
All right. Well, hey, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and get right to it, okay?
That's figured you would.
Look, the biggest takeaway is what everybody's saying right now. We're 7-0, okay? The biggest takeaway you get from that game right there is last year we don't win that game. Why? Because all the one-score games that we had, we faltered down the stretch. It just didn't happen for us. This year, it looks like that's what's going to happen. Back-to-back, kind of nail biters in a sense, but you go back and you win, you prevail. So that's all that really matters. But let's get down to what the problem was. I'm not going to get on here and say it's hard, it's difficult to prepare for an offense like Gus Malzahn's. You know what it's going to be. There's going to be misdirection. There's going to be a lot of gadget plays. There's going to be a bunch of sweeps, reverses, different things like that. He's going to give you a lot of eye candy. You have to be disciplined. But going forward, outside of next week in Lawrence, you're not going to really see a lot of offenses like that. Now, Plumlee was successful. That sprint run had me pissed off, man. It had me pissed off. Defensively, you got the stops when you needed them, and you got stops throughout the game. The problem to me with the entire situation is honestly Levy's play calling. I'm not going to put this one on our running backs, on our offensive line. Levy has to actually help them out. I don't know. I mean, look, to me, it was I like it from time to time, but taking Farouk and putting him at the running back or whatnot, you're taking your weapons out. Spread them out. You're taking a weapon away, and now you're not spreading them out. So I had a big problem with that. You saw glimpses. Now 2 weeks ago, you saw a glimpse of how great OU can be. Today, you saw glimpses of how dominant that defensive line can truly be. You also saw glimpses of how this running game can actually go if our running backs can actually hit the holes and see what's going on. That touchdown with Gavin Sawchuk, I said, oh, yeah, he's gone. Gavin Sawchuk, once he finally knocked the rust off and decided to play ball today, he looked really good, actually. And he looked good running between tackles. He got loose, got that touchdown. You were fine. Definitely would like to have Tawee back for a game like this, honestly. So that was kind of a big thing, but it was good to see Sawchuk get as much action as he did. But for me, ladies and gentlemen, I put this game on Levy simply because there were some questionable calls that were made. But at the end of the day, hey, winning is winning. You got to win. You're 7-0, which we were not last year. We've already surpassed our win total last year. But for me, and if you ask me what I would give this team, just grade them, I give them a D. I give them a D because that's a team right there that you go out there and punish, especially with everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks for them. You go out there and punish that team. You play down to your level. Texas, you're not going to play Texas every week. You can't. You have to get yourself up. You play down to that team's level. And that's something that we've talked harshly. We've criticized Texas about that, not being able to play their brand of ball with everybody.
Yep.
This is something that you're going to have to do from now on out because you're going to get everybody's best shot.
Well, of course. And you know what? here's the one thing that I'll take away from it. I agree with everything you said. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a D. They didn't play well. I'm not super excited about the play calling. I'm not going to sit here and blame freaking Dylan Gabriel, Lori. We're not going to do that because that wasn't the problem. There were some issues in the game though, but all I'm going to say is this: in order for you to win, in order for you to be able to get to that 12-0 mark, you're going to go through some adversity.
Mm-hmm.
You come through adversity is how you are going to how the season finishes. Games in the past, whether it be last year or years before that, they lose this game. No two ways around it. They lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still finding ways to make plays when you need to make a play. And that's just not usually, look, there's a reason that the freaking word Choklahoma came around. And it's because they would gag one up.
Mm-hmm.
At one point of the season, every freaking year. And it was always to somebody you weren't supposed to lose to.
Mm-hmm.
At least this one, you didn't take the L.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, folks, they're going to have to go through some adversity in order to win everything that they want to win anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, you can bitch about it and complain about it all you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You had to win. And they did get that part of it done.
Mm-hmm.
Do they need to be better? Of course they do.
Yeah.
You think anybody doesn't know that? I'm pretty sure they do.
You saw the adjustments during in game, and they were able to finally stop that sprint run for those big big gashes that they were big gash plays that they were getting. I'm eager. I can't wait to hear what Layman and Eichert have to say. I mean, we got our ass kicked in some different spots, man, and we got a lot to clean up. But this is great, honestly, because now even if we were to slide in the polls or whatnot, I really don't care. Why? Because now you can kind of go back with this film here and say, "Hey,
they got something to point to.
You got something to point to now."
Again.
Yeah, I want, going to Kansas. That's going to be a great test on the road next week, simply because how do you respond after a game like this? Texas is in the rearview mirror. You got to put that game in the rearview mirror. We all had our laughs. We all cried together. We all were excited about going forward or whatnot. We control our destiny. But look, I want to be 12-0. I feel like you can be 12-0. I feel like you can be you can do the same thing that TCU did last year, but I think that you can do it better though. And so like I said, the production today did not meet the expectation or the standard, as Venables would say. But at the end of the day, like you said, we got to win. You won the game, a game that you wouldn't have won in the past couple of years under each regime. And the biggest thing about it is you did see the adjustments. We were able to close the game, and it was fine. And one thing I would give Levy, I know I've been critical of Levy, but I will say this right here. He slowed the game down in that fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was key.
Yeah, listen, and there's a lot of questions here. It looks like we got a super chat. Let me grab it first real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Super chat from Robbie Martin, $9.99. You didn't say nothing there, Robbie. Getting too old. Okay, I got one from you. Getting too old for games like that. Appreciate the super chat. Appreciate that, man, a lot. Look, guys, here's the bottom line. I agree with you. Again, nobody likes to have these kind of games to where you have to worry about it. But I got to tell you, there's been less of those this season, to where you're nail biting the whole way through it. In the end, I think Sooner Cowboy asked up there a minute ago if they would lose to Kansas next week. Now listen, if you go out and do what you're supposed to do today, then maybe, I think that what this can be is a wake-up call, right? I think this can be a wake-up call. Or it could be the start of something else. Nobody knows until they get out there and play it. But sitting here freaking out about it, I don't really know what it is that we're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's not time to play. It's not time to panic. And I'm not going to get on here. I'm not going to get on here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to respond to Stephen G.
That's good. Yeah.
But yeah, no, what I was just going to say was simply this right here. I'm not going to get on here and say this is inexcusable. This is the end of the world, all the rest of that stuff. We got to play better. That's it.
Period.
I mean, defensively, you come out there, those first 4 drives, they don't know what to do. They can't do anything because you're covering all of it up. But offensively, you have to get into a rhythm earlier offensively. And you did some good things. The interception was was really kind of just a coinky ding. It wasn't really something that was just going to kill us. I think that you could have took some more shots doing different things like that, but we left a lot on the field. These past 2 games, we've left a lot of points on the field. All my unks would tell me, but I had one unk that, but the unk is always in the comments. He would always tell me after every game, "Hey man, look, that's great that you went and had 30 tonight, but you could have had 40 if you would have hit those 4 free throws that you missed, and then you missed 2 bunnies, you missed 2 layups, and then you also missed a wide open 3." You know what I'm saying? So it's about that. What did you leave on the field? I'm not going to give you a pat on the back. I'm going to say, "Hey, we won." But I'm not going to give you a pat on the back for this win right now.
Yeah, and this one, another super chat from Wilkerson. Hey, I appreciate it. Mike Kenak needs to run stadiums till he passes out. Listen, that may be one thing that they need to definitely needs to be driven home. These stupid penalties like that have got to stop. It's one thing when you're playing and you're up 60, close games. You cannot have this, man. Speak with your freaking pads. Stop with the bullshit. And I agree with you on that. And this stupid stuff like that has to stop. But again, I think that these are all teaching moments right now. And that's, in the end, I think you're right about that, Chris. My granddad was a coach, my whole life. He critiqued everything that we did. I mean, right after the game, good, bad, or ugly. I mean, there was always something that you can work on. And look, I think that they know that. And here's the one thing I'm going to tell you: as much as you wanted to believe that there was no way that they were going to struggle with any of these Big 12 teams, first off, everybody's been telling them how great they are since the Red River. I don't give a crap how much the coaching staff has said to everybody. That's just how it is. When the coaching staff gets in there and says something, they're coming off that high. You could have predicted this, folks. You could have predicted it. We didn't want to because we just thought that we weren't going to, see that. Guys, let's be real. These are kids. They're young kids. And the bottom line is they came through and handled it in the end. Is that a good performance? No. They should have blown these guys out.
Yeah. And I think you go to who had that Center Cowboys. He had it. He said, "Yeah, looks like players celebrate too much, but no, I think it was Center Cowboys had a comment up here. He said, "Yeah, you gave UCF 14 points off of penalties. Yeah, you get that goal line stand, they're probably kicking a field goal, and then so I mean, it's a lot to clean up. Yeah,
just stupid. I mean, they just stopped them on 2nd down, and Connect does that. They need to quit celebrating so much. They definitely need to quit celebrating so much.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. And we're not listening to this cat.
Yeah, I don't even know
who this guy's coming from. Yeah, still undefeated. You're right. Hey guys, we're still undefeated. And nobody fears UCF either. That's probably there wasn't enough fear going on, if anything, bro. Wasn't enough fear going on.
But no, I mean, I think the important takeaway from that game is I mean, hey, you got it done down the stretch, you got it done in the clutch, but also another thing is you're not going to face an offense like that again, honestly, down the line. People are going to run at you straight up or do different things. They're going to do some things that are different. Like I said, Kansas next week, Kansas likes to do that eye candy. You just have the eye discipline and all the rest of that. Now, I will say this right here. Devin Neal probably taking some of those home. So run fits and all the rest of the stuff is going to have to be better next week as we prepare to take on Kansas and Lawrence. So you're not going to be able to get away with just kind of a sluggish start. But I think that when you come out there, you're going to look sharp. Another positive from this game that I would say is that I was really key on what would we look like without Andrell Anthony, and I think that we answered that in parts today. I think you saw that. Hey, we can still
throw the freaking ball down the field, and you can get it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But hey, bottom line, let's just say this: Nick Anderson is everything you need him to be. Jaden Gibson had some big plays today. Look, you did answer some questions with that. In the right, and Drake Stoops stepped up and made big catch after big catch after big catch too. And that's the one thing. This is why you shouldn't be worried about Andrell Anthony. I mean, you don't want to lose anybody, but the depth is in the receiver room. It's in the receiver room. You're going to be able to do some things with that, right? Mr. Anderson. Yes, Stephen G. Mr. Anderson.
No,
again, like a lot of people have said it, what you had said a year ago, you lose this game. Years ago, you lose this game. The fact that you came through and won this is big. Is big.
Go to a Gash Blitz.
They're not going to tell us whether or not he's going to play next week. I guarantee you they're not going to let us know that.
No. Go to Gash Blitz's comment up here.
Go to whose?
Gash Blitz. It says bold but honest take. If we figure out our running game with new schemes and basic fundamentals, just run forward.
I think that's on yours only. Wait a minute. Let me see. Is it way up there?
No, it's not way up there. Here, I got it. He said, just run forward. Don't make people miss and run all the way around. We go 12-0. No, I think that's kind of what you saw a little bit towards the end of the game. You just kind of run it downhill opposed to trying to do all the, split zone and different things like that, man. I don't know, man. It can be better, and I think it's going to be better. But at the same time, I was kind of confused with some of the play calls early on in the game. I felt like, hey, man, just air the thing out. Take make them spread them out, then try to get that run, establish that pass game first, because that's what we've been successful at. Let's get those all our screens, all the rest of our stuff. They were so scared of us hitting them deep that Drake Stoops was eating off of those plays, man. But I feel like Pettaway has to be out there a little bit more. When Pettaway's out there, he makes plays, man. He's getting first downs, different things like that. But you got to give him a chance,
Yeah. Yep. 13-7 Bama. Just saw that. And Texas is up 14-0.
What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts about Sawchuk today? I mean, as the game progressed.
I think he looked better. You don't want to see him putting the ball on the ground. You know what I mean? But I mean, look, what happened with Tawi? I never did get that. Why did he not play very much?
I don't know. I didn't hear it. That was a surprise to me whenever I saw that.
So yeah, he didn't even play, did he?
No, he didn't play.
No. So I hope there was something wrong and nothing real wrong. But if he's just not playing him just for the sake of not playing him, I don't understand that, because the running game, that's the issue, and I think it continues to be the issue. We just saw that comment as well, guys. Look, the bottom line is that you need to run the football. You need to run the football.
Everybody's over here saying Sawchuk, basically has sick potential, just hesitates a bit much. People are saying he finally is looking good, looking comfortable. And you saw that. And I think you're going to see that. I would like to see him get more carries. Biggest thing is just, man, you just got to play better, man. That's all it is. You got to play complementary football. There shouldn't be too many nail biters going the rest of the way. But you got two road games that, one is going to be very emotional because it's going to be the last time that you play those guys for quite some time, unless they get their act together. And then the other one, which is the task next week, is going to be difficult, regardless if Jalen Daniels runs out there or whatnot. Thing is, Bean has had success against us for the past 2 years. And I think people forget that, but he's had success against us for the past 2 years. He's capable of moving the football and doing things like that. Now, I think our secondary is way better than what it has been in the past 2 years.
Most
Because
definitely. And they're gonna put a lot more pressure on him than we've been able to get on anybody in a long time too.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know that it. Look, I don't know that this isn't all a result of them just coming out sluggish and letting them stay in the game too long, because they looked like they were going to dominate the game, and then they didn't. And when they didn't, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So Tawi didn't dress, so it's okay. What did you hear why, Mike? Because I haven't seen anything about why.
Somebody's saying what he got in trouble with a staffing person.
Got into it with DeMarco, is what Stephen G says. Come on, man. So what? About what though?
We'll have to figure that out. So Jason, go ahead. I mean, I kind of gave you my overall thoughts or whatnot. I know you've been responding or whatnot, but just go ahead and let us know kind of what are your overall thoughts about this game. And
I mean, I've been kind of giving it, but I feel like it's just mostly. Well, I mean, I feel like it's just mostly. Yeah, I think they overlooked them a little bit, but I got to tell you, the more I'm okay with them having this moment, and the reason why, it's not because I want them to not play well. It's because there's been so many years that we've had to rely solely on that offense to outscore everybody and not have a problem, right? Just not get anything done. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this Brandon dude. Bye. Talking shit about somebody's wife. I don't understand that. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, but so many. I mean, think about it. You think about the entire time that Lincoln was the coach, and what you're seeing going on now at USC, that they have to rely on. Caleb Williams has to be perfect, and you know what? And this is where I think that OU fans are so used to seeing that, that it turns into, now if you're not perfect and it's you act like everybody. Everybody acts like Baker never made a mistake. Everybody acts like Caleb Williams doesn't ever make mistakes. Caleb's been making them for weeks. And bottom line is they're going to make some mistakes, folks. They're going to do it. And Dylan came through. What you want to know is that when it gets bad, he doesn't just stay bad with him. Mm-hmm. He didn't blink, just like he didn't really blink against Texas whenever he had a few balls batted down. And we can sit here and we can say that we just know that Jackson Arnold's going to be better. No, you don't know that. No,
yeah, and I agree with Thunder OU.
I think Sooner Cowboy, you're waiting on a loss. They're not. They you know what? They passed the test today, and you're just doing what you do. Mm-hmm. You're just doing what you do.
No, I think Sooner Cowboys is just kind of being sarcastic with that take. I think he's just saying that, we're waiting on a loss now. Like, we're wondering where is it going to come. Early on in the season, look, the Horns Down Pod, Hall of Fame Pod, real quick plug. Go ahead and like, subscribe, do all those different things to our channels. It helps us out. But
wipe your feet.
If you heard me talk to Ty, you heard it on my podcast, you heard me talk about it on Ty's podcast, talk about it on Jay's podcast. Shout out to Around the Table Sports, Unfair Sports as well. But the thing that I said was simply just right here, this UCF game could be a tricky one simply because if we meet the expectation, which was to be 6-0, beat Texas, and then coming into that game, that could be kind of a letdown game. Simply because you're riding this high, your defense is playing really good, but the fact of the matter is simply this: you still have to respect Gus Malzahn. When it's working, it's hell. It's hell. I mean, it's hell for a lot of people when it's working. When it's not, it looks terrible. But the fact of the matter is that you made some plays, but it's a lot of good film, a lot of great film. But this right here, this is what I want though. I want OU walking into Lawrence. I want OU walking into Stillwater. I want OU walking into every game and the rest of the way with people still doubting them. I want that chip on the shoulder. I don't want to pat them on their back. I want OU to still feel like they need to have that edge,
Yep. Lori, his first season, you want to make a wager on it? Look, I'm not going to bet against freaking quarterbacks doing what we want them to do. But I'm just telling you, you don't know that he would do any better right now today. And I'm going to tell you now, that he probably wouldn't. He probably wouldn't. He's a freaking freshman. Freshmen generally don't come in and set the world on fire, no matter how good they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just not.
Yeah, this is a good comment right here. He said our 2000 team. Seth Ammerman says our 2000 team had close games along the way. And another thing is, I've never thought of this team as a playoff team. I wanted to get to the Big 12 championship, and I think that it's still premature to talk about the college football playoff. You control your destiny, but the thing is, let's get to Arlington first. That's the first step.
How many times have we said that you got to win every game to get there? I mean, to me, there's a lot of people out there saying that you can see them. You can see a path where OU and Texas could get. I mean, Josh Pate was talking about it yesterday, that you can see a path of OU and Texas getting there. Yeah, there's a path. There's still 5 freaking games left, too, after today. Yeah, there's a lot of football to still be played, folks. And what do we – I want to try to keep it within reason of, hey, when we started this year off, what do we say? 10-2, you'd be happy. 9-3, you'd be happy. That was knowing what we looked at.
Two things I want to harp on real quick, if I may, Jason. Simply this right here. If you make the college football playoffs, even if you were to make the national championship, win or lose, to me that means that you're ahead of schedule. That's all that really means. If you make the college football playoffs, you're ahead of schedule. Coming into the season, I think we all had OU going 10-2. Obviously the naysayers said 9-3 at best, but I see us still. I mean, that's still on the table. Seth and I, shout out to Seth Oliveris. He said 11-1, different things like that. You can see it. You can see it in bits and pieces. The second thing I want to say is just kind of pivoting back towards the game that we just played today. Jay gets on our lives and stuff. I think Jay is traveling right now.
Yeah, he's traveling this week. So
Jay is traveling.
He to jump on with us today.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
But the other thing is that, man, it's like outside of Levy's play calling early on in the game, another problem I had is simply this: we got to be complete on special teams.
Yeah,
like. The punting is better. The punting was better today. I can truly say that the punting was way better today.
Yeah.
But we got those 2 mixed kicks. That's what really put us in the bind.
Right. No, they did. And you got to. I mean, look, there's a lot of stuff to button up. But here, and the only thing I'm going to say is that you could be complaining about all these things and have the nail with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Could be complaining about all this stuff and have a nail. They're able to fix the problems and still be 7-0 with the chance to control their own destiny. I don't care what anybody says, and of course you're going to get all the haters from Texas and SC and anybody else who hates Oklahoma, because everybody hates Oklahoma. This is how it's just going to be, right? Yeah. Sometimes you have to have these moments in order for you to. Every championship team goes through adversity at some point.
And I'm not. I mean,
this ain't going to be their last piece of adversity. I don't know that this is a championship team even, but if it is, at some point over the next few years, these are the kind of games that these kids will look back on and be like, "Yep, we had to get through that. That was a turning point for us." Right?
But yes,
Peyton Bowl needs to play more. I'm gonna give you that one, Steve B. I love it. I want to see him in the game much more.
No, I agree with you to some part. I think this is a championship winning team. I think that they can go and win the Big 12. I think it's on the table for them. I think it's a real possibility. It's a realistic possibility as well, because the thing is that outside of the SMU game, these are really the only 2 games that you can walk away from winning, saying that damn, we got to pick it up. We got to play better.
I don't understand this part. Why was he in his bag so much on the trick stuff?
I don't know why we were doing so much of the cute stuff. I was like, it's not just run the ball, but establish. Yeah, just let him throw.
Run the damn football. Know, I don't even have a problem with if you're going to run it with the look. And somebody had said earlier, is it maybe because we're running the RPO hit? They're an RPO team. This is how they run the ball, and that's fine. but run the damn ball.
Mm-hmm.
And just run between the tackles. And you don't have to gash them for huge gains. And I think if you ran between the tackles, you probably would have gashed them for some more gains than trying to stretch everything out to the sideline. I didn't understand that so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to hit them in the middle a little more. And there's simpler things that they could do. But even if you only get 2 or 3 yards, so what? So what? Because then at least they're not just going to hang back and keep everything in front of them.
Do you feel here's something that not a lot of people are going to talk about as well? Do you feel like there was a little bit of a dip in production simply because we had to match their tempo, and we rotated some key guys out? Because there was a bunch of plays where you saw, like, Kobe McKenzie was in the game, Kip Lewis, and you saw Kanik, you saw Stutzman, you saw Billy Bowman out of the game, and you saw RSJ was in the game. You obviously Peyton Bowen. You saw different guys like that in the game. Pearson was in there a bunch. So, I mean, do you feel like there was a little bit of a drop off today, at least?
A little bit. I mean, but again, I think that this team has shown that they're going to give up a little bit between the 30s, But I mean, how many red zone touchdowns have they gotten? I mean, the thing is they got a couple today, but generally speaking, they were one of the best red zone teams in the country as far as defense wise. So, and they made the plays that they had to make at the times they needed to make them, and that's the biggest part of it that I see, is that you're going to have some bend no break moments, but I'm glad that they're giving guys reps either way, because anytime you get into a game, even when you fail, you learn something from it. So if they're getting tape on all these kids and they can correct it on all that. And again, look, man, there's nothing really great to say about this game. There's really not. I mean, other than they're 7-0, they won. That's it. And I think that we all, just like, I mean, look, how easy was it for everybody to immediately go from more worried about Oklahoma to you beat Texas, now you're not worried about anybody. So if we're all adults and we felt that way, how hard do you think it is to keep them kids' head from getting too big?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely, it feels good. Everybody is patting on your back, but I mean, that's the thing, is that now you can go back and tell them, hey, just like that, it could all be over, man.
The Cowboys exposed is a big word. Okay, that's a big word. Mm-hmm. They gave up 29. That's the most they've given up. But think about this. They're right there. They're right there. They're making plays when they have to. They wouldn't have made that play at the end. I mean,
but
they lost last year, man.
But Jason, the problem that I have with that, I disagree with that 1,000%, simply because UCF didn't expose us. Here's what you have to understand.
No, it's gimmicky.
It's a gimmick offense, man. When it's
just like going up against the triple option. You don't see it but once every few years, so you're not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to kind of survive.
It's a gimmick offense, and what you have to understand is that when it's clicking, it's clicking. And the thing is, it's a lot of eye candy, a lot of different things out there, but you have it's like I said, I'm not going to get on here and say it's the most difficult thing to prepare for, but the fact of the matter is that it's a lot of working parts, and you have to be on your A game. And there was a good portion of the game where they were, but there was a good portion where they were not. But that's a gimmicky offense, man. I mean, look at the plays that they were running. You can go back and count how many times you saw screens from both sides. And if you guys watch, was it Sooner Scoop or Sooner Insider or whatnot? I forget the name of the guy, but he broke it down beautifully and he showed the plays, and you saw it today. They got screens running to both sides, and you're sitting there just kind of picking your poison or whatnot. But, at the end of the day, they get cutesy as well. There were a couple of things that I would say. I think on that very last touchdown that they scored, I kind of feel like Billy was sitting there he got caught in between. Do I take this inside guy? And the guy that was defending him, he had better leverage than him. He was on the inside. So Plumlee would have had to throw, he would have had to lob that over him. And that would have been a 50-50, kind of a live pass, a 50-50 ball. And Billy didn't go with the outside guy who was running that orbit route. So, I mean, there's a couple of things that you saw, but as far as exposed, I don't know if they did anything that exposed us today. If you're telling me that Kansas is going to come out there and try to run these crazy ass misdirection plays, I don't know. I mean, they love that bunch formation an awful lot. I can see them running that. They love that bunch formation. They love they play a similar style to an SMU or an Iowa State. They want to move that pocket and get those guys on the run and hit those quick outs. So you're going to see you should see a lot of press coverage next week. But exposed, one game like that, no. We get exposed, we lose that game. Yeah.
Come on. So that's why, just overreaction. Relax, folks. Just relax. In the end, look, like I said, we could be worried about it and have the sale. 50 people in there, there's 10 likes. Come on, guys. We didn't play. We didn't set the freaking the line on the game, and we didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here listening to you guys and talking you through it. And y'all can't give us a like. Come on now. Shit. Here we go. All right. At the end of the day, 7-0. We need Kip in the game more.
I can see that. I would not mind if Kip was playing where Kanik was playing, just kind of, got a little bit cut into a little bit of his snaps. That's just me personally. I wouldn't mind it because Kip is always making plays and he usually makes the right plays. So, but Kanik has played better these last 2 or 3 games. He has played better. And it really all started at with the Cincinnati game as well.
Yeah, but think about this, Jimmy. It's what I just said too. We all said that even. Yeah, we were all thinking that because of it, I think coming into the Texas game, everybody was still cautiously optimistic, but cautious.
Mm-hmm.
You beat Texas, all of a sudden, oh hell yeah, we're gonna win the whole damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and that's still in front of them. But think about this: if you were watching, let's say it was anybody else, right? Let's say anybody else, and you've been watching this leading up to this week. That big win in that game, would you not have looked ahead, Jimmy, yourself? Because I know you know football. Would you not said, okay, yeah, that's a trap game for them. That's a game that they could lose because they could have a letdown coming off such a big win over Texas like that.
Yeah.
They could have lost it.
No,
they didn't lose it.
Simply put, we're all going to be critical because we've all been here. And the thing is that some of us, let's just put it like this right here, we're still reeling off of. I think Mike had a great comment down here. He said, "I've said it on another channel. I survived Fairbanks and Switzer's nail biters, but I was a youngster and I'm 58 now and need nitro pills." So I think one of the things that we're forgetting is that we're still so used to the Lincoln Riley, Alex Grinch era. And I hate to really bring them up, but I am. We're so used to, leads like that, just playing those nail biter games, that it just becomes natural to us. And anyway, so it just becomes our natural reaction to it. But thing about it is that we're not the only one. We're not the only team, but we're not even going to go there. But I will say this right here. We won. It's time to move on, man. It's time to get ready for Kansas now. 1-0 each week. You did that. So, I mean, it's just time for Kansas. Now you just got to, how are you going to respond to Kansas?
My boy Seth says, "Woo-saw, rub the earlobes." I love it. That's hilarious, man. What is TB? Okay, teams have bad games. FSU struggled with BC. Georgia has struggled at times. Washington barely beat Arizona.
Yeah.
Hey, man. It happens. It happens, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It happens, guys. And again, I think with Plumlee, even me, I've probably given him less credit than what I probably should have. He's a baller. He's a player, man. And he played hard. And so, look, and you got to think of it. It was everybody's, particularly these new guys. They want to beat everybody in the conference, but they really, really, really want to beat Texas and Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
It's their only shot at them. Their only shot at them. They haven't been in a Power 5 conference up until this point. Yeah, I that's why I said that. It's you got to find a way to win each one. You're going to get into some dogfights, but the good news is you won the dogfight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alabama's struggling right now, folks. At home.
Mars had another good comment. Yeah, Jonah needs more. Jonah had a hell of a game today. I think so. Sure I really believe that he had a hell of a game today, man.
Yeah. Ain't nothing worth having without a fight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, man, it's what I was saying before. I just feel like this was inevitable to have a game like this. And they've had a couple of games where they were tested a little bit, but not where they were tested all the way down till the end of the game. And so this is another step you take. And look, I'm not saying that I enjoyed watching this. I didn't. But you could have predicted this, guys. You just could have predicted that this was going to probably happen this game, even though you had 2 weeks off, and even though they've done a pretty good job of not playing with their food and stepping on people's throat. You still could have predicted this if you weren't so high about. But I mean, as high as we all were, just imagine how it was for those kids. Making T-shirts with Danny Stutzman's name, all the stuff he said before the game.
Yeah,
talking about all the pregame stuff from then. I mean, everybody was pumped.
I would have rather have had the bye week after this game because
wouldn't have had time to talk about it so much.
No, wouldn't have had time to talk about it so much. You would have had to get right back to the business. But yeah, you look sharp. You look sharp at certain points in the game, and like I said, you were able to come back from being down by 6, go up by 1 point, and then you're able to get a stop, go get a score, basically leave them a minute or so on the clock. They move the ball, they get the touchdown, you get the stop. But the biggest thing is just basically coming together, getting everything done. You feel good about it. You feel damn good about it. It's just I would have definitely liked to have the bye week this week because then we wouldn't have had that much time to talk about the Texas game. And I think some guys kind of kicked their shoes off and kind of sat down on the couch and was like, oh man, we can, we're fine, we're this and that. But hey, got to get right back to it because next week's going to be a heavy task as well. If you want to
celebrate hard, but not long, man. You know what I mean? You celebrate hard, but you don't celebrate for long. And it's a lesson you got to learn. And look, man, I'm sure that they're learning the lesson. You think that BV isn't honestly, he was smiling at the end of the game, which you wouldn't have expected, right? He had a pretty big grin on his face. I saw right at the end of the game. And I'm thinking, you know what? He probably loves this shit because they won, but he gets to jump on their ass anyway.
Yeah. No, exactly.
He gets to jump on their ass anyway. Yeah. We get both these teams in Norman next year. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Hold on one second.
Still has PTSD from 1975 OU Kansas. We got beat 23-3 with the Selman brothers.
If you want, let's go ahead, Jason.
No, I was just saying, look at that. The Selman brothers teams. You know what I mean? They're losing to Kansas. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Yeah, I was born in 76, so I wasn't even alive for that one there, Mike.
Yeah. Nah, hey. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead.
There, youngster.
I keep saying it, but let's go ahead and let's pivot to just doing kind of like a mini preview of the Kansas OU game next week, man. The first question, first and foremost, does Jalen Daniels play? Out of all the stuff that you heard with the rumor mill about him sitting out, wanting to go to the NFL, wanting to possibly transfer, does he actually play? That's the question.
I think if there's any way possible that he can play, he will. But I think that I don't know that I'm going to say what I said a little earlier. I don't think you're going to know at all what the truth is until game time Saturday. I think that they're going to put it out there like he's going to play.
Yeah,
I think they're going to make it like he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
But he's tested it. I know he was testing it before the Texas game for sure, and then went inside and didn't play. I mean, you expect that he plays whatever? Yeah, maybe he does.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't know. We're starting to hear things like, that he is going to sit out because of the draft and stuff like that. And because there's something obviously going on between him and coach,
Talking about Leipold?
A little bit Leipold. And I think that Leipold likes him a lot, but it's a little weird to me. He was pretty Hollywood whenever I saw him at Big 12 Media Days.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him the night before, even there at the hotel, and they were having fun, and I mean, he was enjoying the attention that he was getting down there in the restaurant. But and I'm not saying anything bad about it. I mean, it is what it is. He's a baller.
It's deserved. I mean,
he's a baller. Yeah,
he's a baller. He's a baller. So once we get past that, I think for me, if we just look at their offense or whatnot, it's a pretty creative offense. It can be. It's not as gimmicky as what you're going to see today. You will see some gimmick plays here and there. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a couple of trick plays. I think the biggest thing for them is getting those running backs out there in space. And Devin Neal is a guy. Highshaw is a guy as well. They're not middle of the roads. It's hard to call them above average because they're better than that, because they're damn good backs. So you have to make sure that your run fits and all the rest of that stuff. You control the run game better. I mean, granted, if you really think about it, because that running back today, he had 100 yards but 22 carries. I mean, he was working for everything he got, except for that big gash play that he got on that sprint draw. But with that being said, man, I think, regardless if it's Bean, regardless if it's Jalen Daniels, you have to take that deep ball away. Take those deep post routes. You have to take that medium 20 to 40 yard, pass that they want to hit. You got to get pressure on them. Yeah, you got to get pressure on them. But I also think you have to be ready for the fact that they're going to move the pocket an awful lot. This is not a Kansas team that's going to stand still. They're going to move the pocket an awful lot. And they love to go right. I mean, that's, Jason Bean is right-handed, but that's kind of the thing for me. Defensively, I think you just have to just pass the ball, man. And because their secondary is kind of the Achilles heel for that team anyways. Yep. You should be able to run. I think you can set the run up with the pass too. You can do it both ways, but you need to the gimmicky stuff I wish would go away. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Buc-ee's, by the way. Shout out to Buc-ee's. Shout out to but no, I mean, listen, the gimmicky stuff, I'd like to see that go away a little bit, right? It is what it is. But it's 20-7 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 20-7, Tennessee. Ooh, at halftime. Yeah. Look, in the end, look, guys, I'm still bullish on this team. I think they're going to be okay. Again, I think coming into the season, if somebody would have told you were 7-0, but you had to squeak by a couple, you'd have probably taken it. Would you not have? Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. To be, and this is just us being critical. This is just us being critical of the team that we love, but sure. And you got to be critical on some of it. And I mean, we're not going to sit here and blow sunshine up your ass. Yeah, we know what the hell it is. We know what it is. You want us to go crazy and say that, we're not going to win a national championship. We're not going to. That is honestly, it's the expectation now. You're 7-0, especially being 6-0 now, being 7-0. The expectation is go for it all. The expectation is go for it all. But the thing is, like I said, getting to the college football playoff means that you're ahead of schedule. Last year we're 6-17. This year we're 7-0. So at the end of the day, like I said, we all have these high expectations for OU. We love this program. We know what the history of this program. We know how great it could be. Last year, 5 games away. I mean, there's 5 close games away that could have, helped our record even more. But the fact of the matter is, you're winning those games now, and you're winning them and looking good as well. Even though this wasn't the best game for us, the best outing, there's still a lot of good to take away from the game. But the fact of the matter is like I said, if you're able to, you go and win a Big 12 championship, that's your expectation. but even some people inside the OU ranks would still say you're ahead of schedule. But yeah, no, and
I
Seth
think so
Ammerman
too.
is right. Riley would be 4-3 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have this defense if he was here at all. At all.
I like what Mike said. Yeah, if somebody would have told me that we're 7-0, I would have said, you know what? Something's going on. Something's a big change. And you see the change because this is the part of the season me and my uncle, we talked about an awful lot, man. I wanted to see somebody like Trace Ford get an opportunity to be healthy, because now you're starting to see, man, some of the production dipped a little bit, but I don't think they just schemed really well, man. They were a well-prepared team, man. They had 2 weeks. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this game.
That's the other thing to think about too, is that they've been, and don't think that they weren't already thinking about it before that. Even I know coaches act like they don't look ahead. They do. They don't want their players looking ahead, but they're looking ahead. Believe that. And Gus has been scheming up shit for at least 2 weeks. And that's, again, with his gimmicky stuff, and you saw a lot of that. But my problem was we don't need to see that when you have the better players coming out of Levy's side. And listen, I've been one of the guys that's been pro Levy. You know, we talk about no strays for Levy or Dylan Gabriel in here, even though we get them still. But I'll tell you, I'm not huge on the way he's called some of the games this year, and the direction he seems to go in when it gets tight. Get back to the freaking basics. Just get back to the basics. If you do that, generally speaking, you're going to be fine. Think about it. And the way he called the Red River game, when you started having issues running the football, what did he do? He went through between the tackles with Tawi, and then he made sure that he cut Dylan loose. Why not cut him loose here? When you were struggling to get the running backs going, get Dylan going again. He didn't do it till the end of the game. It's just like he overthinks it sometimes, and I don't understand that part. And I'm a Jeff Lebby fan, guys. I'm a Jeff Lebby fan, but
that's the part that sucks the most, is the fact that sometimes you feel like he just outthinks himself. It's like no.
Yeah.
No.
And somebody had said something about, you know, that Sawchuck penalty that was on Ethan Downs, because I promise you that this officiating crew watched that game and said, hey, we're not having that. Do not allow these guys to stand over them and do that crap again. They shouldn't have
mechanic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was Ethan's penalty that he didn't get in the game. And thankfully he didn't. But I'm just saying, you could have seen that one coming too. But again, that's one of those things that'll probably get itself cleaned up now, because it's turned into an issue now.
Yeah, it's an issue. Penalties. We can't be a heavily penalized team like that. Don't need Bama winning this year. Not next. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you that, Robbie. I like it.
So overall, we've been on here for. I was gonna say we've been on here for about 53 minutes. What are your closing thoughts, Jason? I'll give you that. What's your closing thoughts?
I'm just excited to see that they're at 7-0. You know, we talked about everything that they needed to clean up, and there's a lot. But as I said, I think that my biggest takeaway was, and I remember thinking of it as soon as, Brent Venables was smiling big at the end of the game. And at a time when it was, you know, everybody else was, you know, wiping their brow and exhaling, he was smiling big. And I think that's because he knows that, yes, we still are 7-0, but I get to chew their asses out and get to coach them up this week. And we're not probably going to have this problem again. I think he knows that how many times have you heard a coach say, you can tell them all you want to, but until they go through some real adversity, they're not going to, they're going to believe in themselves. And there's that thin line between being confident and being a little cocky.
Yeah.
I think that they were definitely flirting with that line, and luckily they got away with it. But I I don't think that there's a carryover into next week. I think that in view of the fact that you've already had a close game with Kansas, a couple of close games, 2 in a row actually with Kansas the last 2 years. You know, if Caleb doesn't pull that ball out of the belly of Eric that 2 years ago, what happens? They lose. They lose. You know, they ended up scoring a couple of times after that. But
Houston just scored. It's 14-21.
I like that. All right. And again, guys, think about this. The other thing I would say is, look, Texas has been doing this all year. This is one. And you're going to get the best game from everybody else. I'm not too worried about a carryover. I feel like Oklahoma's going to get it together. And this coaching staff doesn't really leave any stone unturned to, for what they need to do. And you know how they're always talking about how coach keeps them after practice for 40 minutes on the knee talking. Mm-hmm. So they're getting a talking to this week. I'm excited about I'm just happy they're at 7-0. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about it more, I know, coming up, but give me your final thoughts.
Man, my final thoughts are this right here. Win is a win. You got the win. Was it ugly? Yes, it was ugly. Did you get your ass kicked at some phases of the game? Yes, you did. But were you able to battle through it and make the adjustments? Yes. And there are some plays like the last touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown, but you bounced back. The next play after that, you just had that mentality. This is a game where even though we played bad, it's kind of like the SMU game. You still didn't feel like you were going to lose. You knew we were going to win. But the fact of the matter is you got to play complementary football and you got to be better. We got to be better, especially when these teams are trying to run these little gadget plays, little reverses, different things like that. Also, we got to find a rhythm early on in with the offense. There are some games where we come out there and we look so sharp, and there's other games where we come out there like today, right off the bat, mishandling the snap, different things like that. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. And just praying that Levy can just call a consistent game for the rest of the year. But the thing is like, look, there's a lot of it's a thin line between love and hate as well, Jason. It's a thin line between love and hate, and sometimes you're gonna kind of just walk that line like Johnny Cash. But you got the win. The good guys won. That's all that matters. Regardless of what the polls and all the rest of the stuff looks like, hey, you won. You're undefeated. You're in that conversation now. People are going to be looking out for you. You're no longer hunting. You're the hunted. Yep. So you sacrificed a lot to get to this point. We're 7-0. That's all that matters, man. I'm happy as hell. That's all I can say.
Yeah, me too, man. It's we're 7 games in. We've already won more games than you won all of last season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's yeah. And guys, a lot of you guys were in here with me on my lives after some games last year, and there was a lot of angry Sooner fans. Jimmy, Jimmy, and I mean, all you guys were in here with us. It's just that's what I'm saying, folks. This is not the same thing. And when's the last time that you could say that your defense could rely on your defense to make a stop when you needed to? That's my main thing. I'm bullish on this team because of that, and they're only going to get better defensively. You got help coming, more help coming. So I'm excited about it. It's been a good day. It's been, it's good to get out of it with a win. We'll figure it out, moving forward, and obviously take a look at tonight. We will obviously I'll be on the Saturday night snap count with Coach I and Shawty Parker and those guys over there on Fan Addict Sports Network. Make sure you guys get over there and check that out. Tuesday, obviously, we have our 8:30 live stream. We'll be talking about everything, kind of going back through all of it. And expectations, real quick before we go, expectations on the USC versus Utah game tonight.
Man, I this is usually a game where you see Lincoln Riley come out there with a hell of a game plan, and they usually win by a lot. Utah's had they've struggled without Cam Rising to really get that offense going. I think Nate Johnson or whatever the backup quarterback's name is, I'll go ahead and say the black kid, the black quarterback that they have. He's
yeah,
electric. He's electric. Just needs more
Seasoning.
yeah, seasoning. That's the word. So they've had a terrible
He's a
time.
freshman.
But
Freshman.
yeah, but the fact of the matter is that defense is still a Willingham defense. So it's going to be difficult, but I think Caleb fixes those mistakes. And I honestly see them winning by 20 and kind of getting back into the conversation again as far as being, everybody's going to say they're a great team and all the rest of that. But I think they bounce back, and I think that they win. Yeah, I think USC wins, and I think it's ugly tonight. But before I go, let me go ahead and say this right here. Hey, Horns Down Podcast, y'all already know. Next Thursday, we're going to have a show for sure. I'm going to be on the road on this next weekend. But we'll still do a post-game pod. We'll figure it out and get it. Either it'll be Saturday or Sunday, but I'll definitely let you guys know. Me and Jason, we may be linking up to make this kind of an official thing where we're doing it on both our channels for the post-game stuff. So with that being said, hey, man, Boomer.
Everybody, make sure you hit that like on the way out. We will see you guys on the next one. Check out the snap count tonight.
Stephen G, I'm eating crow now, man. Hey, he's playing a hell of a game. I can't lie. SEC Connect's going to be hell for me.
That's right. Have a good one, guys. Boomer.